I bet you're excited to hear what Chapter 12 has. You probably aren't. I'm not lying to myself or anyone else, but I'm trying to be a little facetious, shall we say. Chapter 12 is about language. What is important? What's the meaning of words? You know, in that Chapter 8 video, I was kind of vague about some stuff and didn't really get my point across. And I also talked about, I think in Chapter 7, about the descriptive language used for blind people. Um, Personal experience, I have tunnel vision. Y'all know that. I'll drop something, and somebody will say it's right in front of you. Don't tell me anything. You tell me in front of my left toe at about 10 o'clock at 6 inches, I can find it. But if you tell me in front of me, that's just too broad of an expanse. A lot of times, we don't realize how confusing, excuse me, how confusing our words are to other people. Because we know what we're trying to say. That's like proofreading. You ever try to proofread your own paper? I know what I wrote. Now, what actually came out between my fingers and the keyboard may be something different. Maybe I wrote T-H-E-R-E and I meant T-H-E-I-R. But when I'm reading it in my mind, I know what it is. So when I proofread, I actually turn the paper upside down, and that way I have to read each word one at a time. So I make sure that the language, the words I have, are the right ones. You know, what's the meaning of words? Words sometimes mean different things to different people. Take, for example, the simple word dog, D-O-G. If you look it up in the dictionary, canine, fur, 4 legs, domesticated, from wolves, whatever. But some people may think of dog because they have a little puppy at home, or a little small dog at home, or a big dog at home. And when they get home from a long day's work, that dog is there. Hi, how you doing? I love you. I missed you. Other people think of the word dog, and maybe they got attacked by a dog when they were young. And they imagine some vicious Rottweiler or German Shepherd or Doberman Pinscher are trying to tear them apart. You don't know what's in the mind of your audience. So the meanings of words often differ, and you have to be prepared for that. Now, there's denotative and connotative. That's just kind of what I explained. Denotative is the dictionary definition of a word. Connotative, that's what you think about when you hear that word. Make sure that you are accurate in your words. And I just lost that screen. There it is. Synonyms don't always mean the same thing. I've read a lot of student papers, and you can tell that they use the synonym function on their word processor, because maybe they're using the word concrete, and they've already used it 2 or 3 times, so they know that repetition is not a good thing. So they'll click synonym, and they'll pick another word. Sometimes the synonym kind of means the same thing, but doesn't always, depending upon the context that it's in. So you have to be careful with synonyms. Speaking of language, one thing that has impressed me, I speak a little bit of about 3 or 4 languages. I'm not fluent in any of them. People say I'm not fluent in English. That's okay. But I have cohorts that English is their second language. You know, they'll give a presentation in English, and I can't give one in whatever their language is. But a lot of times, the person that English is second language, they know one word for a certain thing. And when they lose that word in their train of thought, they seem muddled and dumbfounded. Whereas if English is the language you grew up with, generally you have 4 or 5 other synonyms you can say to cover the point, and your mind will shift quick. And they could in their native language too, but when they're trying to speak in English, sometimes they lose that one word. I was in Kazakhstan on a humanitarian aid mission, And this guy grew up, spoke Russian, home personal language, mom and dad spoke a family language. We're offloading a truck, and he could not think of the word for mattress in Russian. It's matris. It sounded so similar, he discarded it. So think about that when you hear somebody speaking from another country or that English isn't their first language. Trying to understand that it may not be that they aren't educated, it's just they don't have the rich vocabulary that you grew up with. Clarity. Use familiar words. A lot of students will get up and give a presentation and they'll try to use big technical words like subdermal hematoma. A subdermal hematoma is a bruise or blood flow below the skin. More often, people refer to head injuries with subdermal hematomas. And you nursing students can correct me if you want to. Well, why don't you just say bruise? He fell down and got a bruise. It's a lot easier for us to understand. It's a lot easier for you to remember because you don't have to try to impress us with big words. Use concrete words. If you're talking about last week, I read last week. Okay, what'd you read? Did you read a novel? Did you read the directions on a TV dinner? What did you read? We want to be able to understand what you're talking about. Abstract is I read. Concrete is I read a novel, article, magazine. Those are foreign to some of you because they're paper, but, I read a website. I read an app. Make it vivid. Use your imagination. Bring it to us. That story I told you about the blind people at the Rookery, I want to picture it in my mind. I want to know what you're talking about. You can use a simile, a direct comparison with like or as. This is much more fun when I have a class full of students because I can ask them, do you know what a simile is? And sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong. You can use a metaphor. Metaphor is an indirect comparison, not using like or as. Why do they have to have two different words for a comparison? I don't know. I'm not an English major. But they have them. Have a rhythm to your presentation. Sojourner Truth has a wonderful video, and I don't think I posted it for y'all. It's Ain't I a Woman? But it's this rhythm to it that you can get into it. And it's easier for you to remember your presentation if you develop a rhythm to it. Repetition. In that presentation, Ain't I a Woman? Sojourner Truth says a couple of times, Ain't I a Woman? If you haven't seen it, look it up. Just Google Sojourner Truth, Ain't I a Woman? You'll love the video. It was a black woman giving a presentation in the 1800s about rights. And it's a powerful presentation. It's only a couple minutes long. You could use an antithesis. The most common one everybody repeats is, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, by Kennedy. You can make sure that your presentation is appropriate for the occasion. A lot of times, I don't know how many funerals y'all have been to, but I've been to a lot of funerals, and a lot of times people laugh at funerals because we remember the good times. But there's some things that don't necessarily need to be brought up, or at wedding toasts. The occasion, the audience, you have to think about all this stuff. If you get asked to do the wedding toast at somebody's wedding, you can't necessarily, well, you can, but it wouldn't necessarily be appropriate to tell some of the stories that happened in college with grandma and grandpa sitting there. So you have to understand the occasion, the audience, what's going on. What is who's the other speakers? Who are you talking to? What's the audience? You can but you don't want to alienate people. You don't want to embarrass people. You know, this isn't a roast. That's a totally different thing. You want to convey information and bring people to you and have them be receptive to listen to you. You know, if it's an occasion, if it's the Southern Baptist Women's Convention, you know, I'm not going to walk up there and start cussing and that type of stuff because I don't want to alienate them. So check out who your audience is. Inclusion. One of the most important things you can do is you can make the audience feel like you're talking to them. You know, look at their faces, look at their eyes. Say things like, we need to do this. This is our problem. If you stand up there and say, you've got a problem and this is what you need to do to fix it, you're going to alienate most of the audience. You need to make an inclusive presentation and make them feel like you're talking to them. Because if they feel like you're talking to them, they're more apt to listen to you. They're more apt to accept the information that you're giving. And if you're doing a persuasive speech, which is later on in the semester, they will be more apt to be persuaded by you. Think about that. How many presentations have you heard where somebody was you this, you that, you the other, and this is what you need to do to fix yourself? Did it lend well to you? Did you say, well, you know, they're right, I've got all these problems? No. I mean, let's be honest about it. It did not. It's like, why are you telling me this? Why do you think you know everything about me? So that's chapter 12. Language is an important thing. It's something that we use to convey an idea. And we can convey the idea in an appropriate way. We can convey the idea in an articulate way. And we can convey the idea where people think we know what we're talking about. And hopefully we do. But we can also convey the idea inarticulately. We can convey the idea in poor taste. We can convey the idea using vague words. And our point will never get across. And the whole objective to this is to get the point across. There's one more thing I want to add to this presentation, and I should probably add it to all of them. But the most effective thing you can do is practice, because if you believe in yourself, you can do it. You believe in yourself, I do. I know you can do this. The hardest part of my job is to convince somebody to believe in themselves. And it's even made harder with this virtual aspect of it, because I can't get a chance to talk to you and see you and see how you're interacting. And I'll be able to get some from your videos. But believe in yourself. I do. And I'll see you in chapter 13. Well, you'll see me. Bye.